I found a cracker hat.
Where did you find that from?
Well, we had 3 spares in the cupboard. Chunky, fair trade chunky buttons.
From last year?
Are they still in date?
No, I just checked the date, 2018. I did find a joke for you.
Oh, no.
The cracker. Yeah, you ready for this? It's really bad. It's really bad. Why is a saint like a small donkey?
I don't know.
Go on.
They both like their halo.
Oh.
Inspire, connect,
Resource. Growing healthy churches.
is in relationship for God's mission.
So welcome to this Christmas podcast with the regional team. How are we all doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Good.
Good. You're looking, well, Steve's looking quite Christmassy. Colin, thanks for making the effort this year. That's
Once a year this comes out for Christmas, and actually, so you're honoured because now wearing it today means it will be twice this year.
Oh, okay. We are honoured. We are honoured. And Claire and Amy, not quite sure what.
I just couldn't cope with wearing a Christmas jumper in November. It was just felt wrong.
And I have no Christmas jumper. In fact, I'm wearing like a summer dress. But I have got is it called a Christmas cactus or something like that?
Cactus.
Yeah. So that's why this is here.
But the dress does look quite Christmassy, Claire, so well done.
We're going to just chat a little bit about Christmas and a little bit about the year that's gone, and just have a little look forward into the year that is to come together. So I just wondered what you guys were particularly looking forward to for Christmas this year. Is there something particularly that you enjoy?
I just think, obviously spending time with family, but for me particularly, it's spending quality time with my husband Neil, because we have such busy lives all the year through, and he's quite often away with work, that just spending quality time together and watching old films. I think our favourites are probably Casablanca and This Happy Breed, which they often play at Christmas. So yeah, that's what we enjoy doing.
Yeah, we've got family descending on us this year, so I think there's 16 potentially, and I'm not quite sure where we're going to sleep yet. But it's so it's going to be a big family get together. And having missed last year, people are very keen, and also Caroline's dad's really ill, so everyone's keen to make sure this happens this year. I do have a dilemma. I've got tickets for a football match on Boxing Day when everyone's here. And I'm not quite sure. Yeah, Man City play Leicester, and I don't quite know how to navigate that one yet. But so please pray for me.
I feel sorry for you.
I just really like the familiarity of it, in the sense of it tends to be just me, my mum, dad, my husband Michael, and my nan, and maybe a few other guests sometimes. But you get into a real pattern of it, and I really just like that. It's good.
Yeah, I enjoy simply being together, and putting off playing games as long as possible, basically, is the main target. So hoping that everyone forgets that silly games exist that you have to engage with. So that's the main thing. Although I think there's a new tradition coming this year for us, which is last year, because of the lockdown, we put we went outside into the back garden and put out some gas and electric stoves, and had bacon butties, because you were allowed to meet in the garden with the family. And it was such fun doing it. I think we probably will keep on doing that, just because it's a great thing to do. So we got a new tradition because of the difficult circumstances of last year.
I like that. I like that you've got a new tradition that you've set in place. That will always have to be in the Norris household for years to come. Bacon butties in the garden on Christmas Day. I love being outside, actually, interestingly, and watching all the lights gradually appear around the houses. And I don't know about your your neighbourhood, but there's always a bit of a competition around here who can put up the most lights around their house. So it's quite fun trying to find out which house has got the most lights, pulling the most electricity. I have to say, we don't put a lot of lights out. We put the tree outside, and that's about it. But I do enjoy that, and I'm looking forward for the first time to enjoy. We put in a new wood burner. In fact, we put a new wood burner in the summer, and the guy who put it in had to test it in the middle of the summer. It was the hottest day of the year when he tested it. Not a good idea, but we're looking forward to having that roaring at Christmas, which will be really nice.
You'll have to get the chestnuts out. So.
Yeah. Sue's quite keen on chestnuts. Yeah. I'm not sure quite how to do them on a wood burner. An open fire, perhaps. Yeah.
You have a because you can open the doors, can't you? You've got one of those chestnut.
It's a pan, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
It's a chestnut pan, is it?
Yeah.
Not a chestnut spoon. That'd be silly.
Great.
Wrong with a skewer.
That's for the marshmallows.
Yes.
Yeah. I could do some few marshmallows on it.
Crumpets and toast.
Metal, of course.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, we've moved on to food.
Yes,
food then, haven't we? Really. So, anyone got any kind of particular strange or unique food that you enjoy?
Mine isn't strange or unique, but my family is totally addicted to bread pudding. Not bread pudding, bread sauce at Christmas. And my mum used to have to make like a vat of it for Christmas dinner because we would just all plough through so much of it. And yeah, that's our big thing at Christmas is bread sauce. And
we don't have it every year, but some years I get Sue to do. I love Brussels sprouts. It's about the only time in the year we eat them, isn't it? I don't know why, but I love them. But I love them in peanut butter. Yeah, cooked in peanut butter. So you melt the peanut butter in the pan, just toss them in peanut butter. If you don't like Brussels sprouts or peanuts, then don't go for it. But if you do, give it a whirl.
It doesn't surprise me if you don't like Brussels sprouts or peanuts.
Yeah, or you're allergic.
Strangely enough, the bit that I enjoy hugely every year, again, for some reason we only do this once a year, is Boxing Day. We have a tradition that a leftover turkey, we make a very, very simple curry, but a very, very creamy one with lots of mayonnaise stirred in, which you can have hot or cold, and then all the other leftovers cooked as well. But there's something about that. It's almost like I enjoy that more than the Christmas lunch itself. So the next day. So yeah.
I like doing with so I absolutely love Christmas pudding. Like I really love it. It's my favourite. My mum's Christmas pudding is just amazing. And then with my dad, he always makes turkey soup, like however, a couple of days after. And then me and him pick the carcass of the turkey. It's like something from The Walking Dead or something. It's like pretty grim. Just like, and to get all the stuff for the for the soup. And then one of my favourite sort of stories, and I don't know if I've shared this with you guys before, but it was a couple of Christmases, 3 Christmases ago. We were like opening the presents from under the tree, and my mum suddenly goes, "What is this?" And my nan had brought her I don't know what my nan planet she was on, but she bought her crunchy ice creams, thinking that it was just crunchies, and had wrapped them up. And I know my nan, she'd have wrapped them up in probably about a month in advance, and they've been sat under the tree for like 3 days. So there's this box of melted ice creams, and it was really funny because my mum's going, "Who's brought me this?" And my nan was like, "Oh," she thought it was chocolates.
One of the things I haven't quite mastered is how do you manage to get from the kitchen to and we live in a small place, so don't get me wrong, but how do you get from the kitchen where you liked the Christmas pudding, you like the brandy around the Christmas pudding, to the actual dining table without it going out, without using so much brandy that actually it's crisped on the outside because actually it burns it so thoroughly? So there's a whole thing that I'm missing there. If anyone's got any clues as to how to actually master that, I'll be answers on an email would be great.
Well, plenty of brandy, but you could actually take the Christmas pudding to the dining room and then douse it with brandy.
But that spoils the surprise because it's a mystery about how you've lit it otherwise, isn't it? Surely no one's worked it out.
Okay. Well, what about the Barber household?
We're quite traditional, I think. I like pigs in blankets. That's very traditional, isn't it? I love my sprouts. We're on the same page there. Um, yeah, I like. One thing we only have at Christmas is bubble and squeak. So I quite like that with the vegetables mashed up, and then a couple of fried eggs. So we tend to have that a day or two after Christmas with the leftovers.
God, I'm feeling hungry actually.
Yeah, I'm feeling really hungry. Yeah.
So, we're gradually going towards the end of 2021. So it'd be good just to reflect a little bit back. So I don't know if there are any particular memories or thoughts that you have as you think back across the year, as you're thinking about that. For me, it's been a bit of a bittersweet year because my mum has been quite unwell. I shared a bit about that in the last reflection that I did for Southern Counties. From the beach of Seaford, actually, and so there's been some sadness and some real challenges. At one point, we thought we were losing her because she was in intensive care, but so grateful that we didn't, and also grateful for the opportunity to spend time with family a bit more than I have done for many years because of the kind of roles that I've done. So as I look back, it's been a challenging year, but one I'm really grateful for, and one we've seen God at work in amongst our family. So we give praise to God for that.
We were really thankful for our daughter Lucy's wedding being able to go ahead in April, getting married to Josh, with tons of uncertainty about whether the wedding could happen at all. In the end, it was only 15 people, but we had the most splendid, wonderful celebration. Outside using a marquee in the grounds of the hotel that had been booked for many months, because that's the only place we were allowed to have the reception. But it was a wonderful, wonderful time. So there's something about being able to do that was brilliant. And then the arrival of a second granddaughter has been a wonderful thing in July as well. I think every time I've been able to be with other people face to face, it's felt special. I've not tired of that yet. And look, I am an introvert, so at some point that will happen. But every time I've been together, especially with groups of people that I've not seen for face to face for a long time, it's been absolutely wonderful and special. So within all the hard and hard goingness of the year, every time that's happened, and of course it's increasingly happened recently, it's been brilliant.
I hope this kind of makes sense, because I haven't, you're sort of speaking out loud a little bit, but there was a couple of losses for me this year that were really hard, and so just desperately sad kind of place. But gathering with people, I remember being outside and who also had felt that loss, and just being able to share grief, even though it was freezing outside, but also there was laughter in that, being with one another, and just sharing other stories and this, that and the other. And I was just thinking the capacity of humans to be able to hold desperate grief alongside joy, and being able to cry and laugh within the space of minutes is it's something really precious about that. And so I look back on 2021, it was desperately sad, but there, amongst the sadness, there was those moments of joy as well.
I found it a real year of contrast. I think the first part of the year I found really, really tough. And I think because of that, going back into lockdown again, and the hope of actually being out, all that had built up, and then that was dashed, wasn't it, for a few months. I just found that really, really difficult time. I found my energy levels were very, very depleted. But then the flip side of that was having my eldest daughter at home a bit more, and my other two children, and we were, it was good. We just sort of learnt to be family, and survive that together as family. That was quite a precious time. And then as we've gone through the year, things have changed. I agree with Colin. It's been great to be seeing people. I think every meeting has seemed more special. My two daughters are now away, so we've kind of gone much more. It's much quieter in the house at the moment. It's been very, very different, but it's and it does. Yeah, I felt this being able to spend time with people on every occasion. Really, really valuable. Yeah, and church is kind of getting there. Church is very slowly getting there, but it's not quite back yet. Keep seeing glimmers of it, but it is hard work at times.
I think for me, it's just taking those baby steps, getting back to normal. So just little things like we went to Twickenham in June to see the rugby final, and we've been to another rugby match in September. We haven't ventured out into a gig yet, but we've got a few planned for 2022. But yeah, it's just baby steps, but it's enjoyable baby steps.
It has been great to get out and about, and it's been good to see how some of our churches have responded to some of the challenges of 2021, 2020, and how they've sought to be missional in some really challenging circumstances, which is great. I really enjoyed, just to shout out, Sandhurst, joining Sandhurst for their anniversary. And we had a great service together, an anniversary service. It was about just over 20 people at the service. But afterwards, they did this barbecue, and they invited people that were connected to the church, so the crowd around the church a little bit. And that group of 20 eventually was 60 people, all sat outside on quite a nice day under some canopies and enjoying just fun together. A lot of them, the Nepalese people that they serve. So that's a memory that will kind of sit in my mind for some years to come. Just a small little church, but actually doing a great little work there, and we give thanks to God for that. So, the other thing to say is last year, our great friend Dave Llewellyn was with us. It doesn't mean he's passed away. He's just passed on to Wales.
The way you said that.
I know. I suddenly thought this sounds like it's leading up to some tribute.
How was his induction?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, obviously restrictions were in place, so there were limited numbers of people, but the church was, reasonably full, others online, and it was a bit of a blast. What was hilarious, Claire, was as a regional minister, you would have thought he knew what would take place in an induction, but he kept getting it wrong. So he kept wandering off the stage at the wrong time or not being in the right place. Or it was hilarious. It was like, what's wrong with this man? But it was great celebration. We've done a lot of inductions though in ordinations, haven't we, Colin?
We have, yeah, and that's been another highlight. They've almost been backed up, waiting to happen, and this last 2 months, 3 months nearly, has been full of. So I had two ordination inductions over the weekend, and a church anniversary as well, and there's been some real strength and buzz of that. So with Katie's induction and ordination in a school at Lark Hill, where she's the pioneer mission person, that was splendid to be in the very school which is at the heart of the community that she's wanting to serve. So that was terrific. I think of an earlier induction where one of our larger churches, new team leader, in difficult and sad circumstances, but a new team leader, and just the sheer sense of the strength of thoughtfulness and prayerfulness around what they'd had to cope with, and also with the way that they had called their new team leader, was actually rich and moving. So this sense of new starts for churches has been great.
Yeah. And we do wish Dave the very best over at Penarth. He looks very much at home, and they've received him well, and he's loving them to bits, which is what we expect today, isn't it?
And Alison is coming in today to Baptist House because it's Thanksgiving as well today, so Thanksgiving Day. So she's popping in to bring pumpkin pie for everybody. So.
Oh, do send our love, and we so
out.
much appreciated the way she served the association over those few years. And of course, we Joy is now part of us, not here today. but we're grateful for her input into our safeguarding advice and help. Doing a fantastic job. Also, someone else just moved into a new home, so we pray that she settles into her new home. I don't know whether our thoughts are turning to 2020 at this point, but has anyone got any reflections?
Or 2022?
Oh, sorry, yes. No, let's go backwards.
We move forward, Josh. Where
are we? 2022. 2022.
The thing both myself and Neil are looking forward to the most, fingers crossed, is getting back to France, because usually we go to the south of France every year for our September holiday, and we haven't been for the last 2 years. Though we've been lucky to get away to the Isle of Wight, it's not quite the same. So we've rebooked it again. So just fingers crossed, in September we will be on that beach in Via Plage.
I'm trying to persuade my wife to go to Southern Ireland and hire a camper van or motorhome and tour around the south of Ireland. She doesn't want to go because she says, it's the Emerald Island, and she says, why it's called the Emerald Island? And I say, because it's green. She says, why it's green? And I say, because it rains. But I have checked out in June, the rainfall in Cork is the same as Cornwall, so I may have persuaded her. So hopefully that's something. But we're also looking forward to a cruise that we booked some time ago. That's to the Norwegian fjords. Looking forward to that in April.
I've done cycling over in Ireland and camping, and the rain is not what struck me. So I can't remember it being that rainy. If that sort of adds to your case for going over there, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love the fact you have to kind of get the statistics out to prove this is a good idea for a holiday.
Yeah, it didn't seem to work with her though. She says it's still green.
Thing is, she knew that the rainfall in Cork was 1 day, and you were comparing it with the rainfall in Cornwall for 1 year. So actually, she's got you sussed, Josh.
I'm a bit in denial, to be honest with you. The first term is looking pretty packed. I feel like I could have done my time management a little bit better, and then we're looking at getting an extension, which feels really adult, and I don't know. Anyway, and that's happening at the same time. So I'm basically going to be in denial until it gets to about June. And then I'll have sorted out my time management better, and it'll all be fine. So I think that's how I'm approaching it. Head in the sand, and then let's just maybe wake up in June, and that'd be nice.
I'm still finding it quite challenging to even think in terms of planning for next year. So I don't know how others are, but it feels like it's a year of seeing what the direction is going to look like for all sorts of parts more widely, but certainly for our churches. It has been such an extraordinarily challenging time, and it seems to me that 2022 will be the time when we start to get a sense of how it's going to land for lots of our congregations and ministries, and perhaps for the wider Baptist family as well. It's going to be the case too. So there's a bit of me feeling I don't really know that I feel firm-footed enough to actually plan and know what 2022 will be like. My prayer is that we might get to the stage with Nehemiah of saying that it has been incredibly difficult, but now is the time for us to be able to take stock and prayerfully move into what God invites us to be like now we have experienced all this and what it's left us with. So that's my prayer, that 2022 is the time of being able to start to move forward. But I am also quite content about being attentive to what God is saying through it all, and not having to rush. I think people are still very, very weary, and we're still on catch up, and we probably won't do each other a favour by artificially hyping or pushing too hard.
Well, it's worth saying there, Colin, that the leaders' conference could be quite significant around that whole area with Jeff Colmer and what Jeff is doing. Perhaps you want to just say a few words about that.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff is going to be bringing his presidential theme of being attentive to the rhythms of grace, and Jeff's had his own very, very deep and intense experience of needing to do that with the most enormous health challenges, and still managing some of the after effects of that in the way that he's doing ministry and being president of the union. So it promises to be very, very helpful and thoughtful, the time that we're going to spend with him.
Yeah, it's interesting having made plans over the past 2 years and then had to change the plans and keep changing them. And I kind of feel this past 6 months, we've just been, if an opportunity has arisen, I'm thinking here for sort of personal opportunities and to go and see things, or we tended to jump there. So we've had we managed to get over to see my daughter in Germany. It was we organised it a couple of weeks before. So I haven't made that many long-term plans, although I do notice for the first time in 16 years, we actually can go on holiday as a family outside school holidays. So I have penciled out a couple of weeks in the diary because that might keep the costs down a little bit. And so my son does his GCSEs this year, and there's a bit of a window there. But we haven't got. I think I've got out of the habit of making plans, so I wonder if that's part of the issue there. I am worried that we'll go to book. Last year when we went to book, we booked a cottage in Wales. There were about 3 left in the country. It was an absolute nightmare. And we ended up going to a place that only they insisted on you having vegetarian food. You weren't allowed to have meat in the place, but we're just grateful to get somewhere. But I am worried that everyone will book very early and there'll be nothing left by the time we get round to it.
So as we go through Advent and then we come to an end of this podcast, it'd be good just to share any thoughts that we think would be of help to our SCBA family as they journey towards Christmas. So has anyone got any particular thoughts this Christmas?
Mine's not a radical. I mean, Christmas, there's only so many things you can kind of ways of looking at it, isn't there really? But it always is God coming to be with us and making the time to be with him for me.
Yeah.
Mine would sort of link with that, Claire, as well. I had this weird thought, that I do have weird thoughts, and the weird connection that I made was about the one of the lectionary readings that's around people being lost and harassed without a shepherd, and then making the link with the shepherds abandoning their sheep to go and see Jesus. I don't think I'd ever noticed before. I think, oh, actually, what do you think? What were you thinking of? Off they go and abandon their sheep. So I don't think it was too terrible a crime, but actually they did leave their sheep. But there was something metaphorically in terms of, Claire, what you've just said, which is important. If they were going to be great shepherds and live well, they needed to actually go and bow to the Christ child. And that does make all the difference. And as if we're leaders and ministers, often we're thinking all the time about the Christmas story in terms of what point we can make for other people. And actually, perhaps the invitation is for us also to, sometimes we do have to come away from those that we serve and actually simply bow down and be still.
I've been asked to speak at my good friend's funeral. Her name was Mary. Was a good friend to us. Looked after our dog many times when we went on holiday. And I've decided to speak on Mary's song out of the Nativity story, because Mary was a musician. She loved music, but she was a servant-hearted person. And so my thoughts this Christmas time, coming up to Christmas, is really just around that song. But I was kind of struck by it as I was looking at it the other day. Boris Johnson keeps talking about levelling up. Well, the coming of Christ was a levelling up. Because within that song, she says he has brought down rulers from their thrones and lifted up the humble. And I'm just really challenged by what Christ is doing. The salvation is coming, the Messiah's arrived, but there's much more going on, particularly in the area of justice, that we as Christians are called into this place of levelling up, of correcting things that are not right. So kind of challenged by that this Christmas, and I want the Lord to take me deeper in that thought over these coming few weeks.
One of the aspects of Advent is waiting, and it is felt that we've been very busy. I find, particularly doing church, is very complicated at the moment. It seems very, very hassly to do Sunday by Sunday, and a lot of effort and work. And actually that chance to have a break, really. I wonder for ministers whether that happens after Christmas. We kind of just keep doing things, but I think to have that break and to have that time just to listen to God again and be with him, and not be rushing around having to do all the other things that I think have been on our plates over the past few months.
My thought, I suppose, is a bit more generic over everything that's happened the last 20 months, and especially things that have happened in our family in the last month. I just think life's too short. Live life to the full. Do everything you can, because you don't know what's around the corner.
That's good, Amy. That's why I got Man City tickets.
Justified.
Thank you for that. I shall.
So is the logic life's too short to spend your time watching Man City? Is that the logic?
So we hope you had a great 2021, and we really hope that this Christmas time will be a real blessing to you.
Wishing you a very peaceful and restful Christmas.
Yeah. May you have an absolutely wonderful Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Yeah, we wish you a really Merry Christmas. I hope you do have a great rest, and hope you find Christ's presence throughout.
All the strength you need for the next few weeks, and then joy and peace accompanying. Bless you.
Inspire, connect
Resource. Growing healthy churches.
is in relationship for God's mission.
Sorry, I just need to switch my lights back on. There we go.
I thought it was a Mexican wave there, Amy.
That's definitely going in, Amy. It's definitely going in.